Peter Walker here. Welcome to today's edition of The Transition Guy. Now, joining me in the studio is fellow colleague and coach, Mike McKay. Thank you for coming, Mike.
Thanks for inviting me.
So, we were having a conversation the other day. One of the things that comes up is strategic planning. And strategic planning is kind of very much an overrated, overused term at the moment. And a lot of people say they do strategic planning, but let's be honest about it. It is a strategic planning they're doing. They're just doing execution tactical planning. So today I want to talk to you about the importance of strategic planning.
Sure.
Now you do work with a lot of the big businesses, don't you?
Yep, we do. Our biggest client's a $10 billion company, $10 billion a year.
Okay, so that's a fairly decent sized company, right?
That's pretty big, yeah.
How much value and importance do they place on strategic planning?
Well, I have two answers to that. One is they place a ton of value and importance on it. The other is they're really bad at it. And so what we've learned, we run this planning process, I think we're 37 times through it now. And what we learned when I was a corporate guy, what I learned with this big company is they like these super long processes with all the detail. And it takes so long and costs them so much money. By the time they get through it, they haven't actually thought about the strategy. They started at a point and they just start doing work, and then they end up at another point, but that finish point isn't a strategic plan. Like, they never collapse it into a short enough period of time to say, what do we really want to cause to happen in the next 5 years, and what has to happen in year 4, 3, 2, and 1 to make that be the result that we want.
And that is probably, and you've hit on 2 points there. Number one, when you're doing strategic planning, you are really looking at a 5-year period. Now, some people cannot think 5 years, and that's absolutely fine. If you can't get your head around 5 years, and get your head around the fact that 3 years. But 3 years is a base minimum for strategic planning. And at the end of the day, you've got to have that visibility into the future. If you're not thinking that far into the future and you're just dealing with the here and now, if something changes fundamentally in the marketplace, which we know it does,
yeah, all the time,
and you can't see it coming, then your business will be like the Titanic. You see things too late, you try to turn, you don't turn in time, and you sink. And ultimately you die.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point. So when people say I can't see that whole 5-year period, A, that's not a true statement. It's I just choose not to see it. And B, when all these times through this, what we know is you're going to come up against all the hurdles and all the problems. But unless you stop and take the time to think about what we want to accomplish in 5 years, every time you get a new problem, there's no context. It's just like, holy cow, here's this new problem, and the solutions get to be really bad. So it is a process where we do it once, and then in all these times we've done it, most of you would come back and do it in 9 months. That's our average time after somebody goes through this process, because in 9 months the business has changed so much that they have to stop and look 5 more years out, but the 5-year plan only lasts a year. Like, everything is happening all day, every day. It just gives somebody a context of how to get to an end result. And you're the transition guy, so we see this a lot with businesses that are trying to transition to a new ownership group or to the second generation. And the generation that's outgoing has never actually thought about what we want to happen.
They haven't done a plan, let alone thought about it. They just wing it as they go along.
Absolutely. And then you get to 3 months and you're like, well, my kid doesn't want to take my business over. What am I going to do now? Because you're 3 months away from wanting to get out of it. So yeah, it's 5 years, but you shouldn't be scared of that, because we know that every step on that journey is towards a big objective, but there's also plenty of leeway. And the reason you do it every year at least is because things are going to change. They change every day.
But more importantly, I mean, you said something earlier about the fact that the 5 years needs to be collapsible.
Yeah.
So you need to really work backwards. You need to have a year 4, a year 3, a year 2, and your current year. And really, when you look at your 5-year plan, once you've established your 5-year plan, it doesn't fundamentally change. It's going to be tweaked. There's going to be revisions to it. But what you don't want to do is end up continuously doing. I've seen companies do this, where every year they say, yeah, we're going to do strategic planning. We're going to keep doing our 5 years. But they never review their 1 year. You're laughing because you know it's true.
I know. It's absolutely true.
They don't ever look at the 1 year. They never get anything done, and they always put in a new plan. Never do the execution of it, and then wonder why they never get the traction that they need, or that do get traction. Very often they do get traction, but it's absolutely a mess. It's like a year full of trauma.
Yeah. We if you haven't done one yet, if you haven't gone through the whole process, about 95% of the people that go through it will hit year 3 in their first 10 or 12 months.
Yeah, because you've got that focus, you see. When you know where you want to go, it's like doing a jigsaw puzzle. When you know what the picture looks like, it's easier and faster to put it together.
Right.
If you're having to try and work out what the picture looks like, and you've got all those pieces, good luck.
Well, think about every aspect of your business. If you know where you're going, is it easier to hire the right people to get there?
Yeah.
Right? If you haven't thought through your strategy, then you just hire whoever can fog a mirror, and they come in and they're not great employees. So everything about running your business, especially if you're trying to create an asset or create something that can be transitioned or just have some control over your life, it's 100%. I mean, it's almost 100% easier by setting that goal and doing the strategic planning process. And it's really not that hard. It takes a couple of days. Shouldn't say it's not hard, right? It's draining work to actually, most of us haven't ever stopped to think about our business like that. But you can get the whole thing in 2 days and a little bit of focus, and all of a sudden really, if you could spend 2 days and accelerate your business 3 years, which is what happens 90% of the time, why would you not seems like you should do that. That's all I'm saying.
And I know a lot of people get scared by sort of the 5-year vision because they don't have the team to do it. And they think, oh, well, I can't think 5 years ahead because I don't have the team. You don't have the team because you haven't thought 5 years ahead.
That's right.
Because if you actually think 5 years ahead, you know who you need to hire. You know who that person you need to bring in. And actually, when you've got that level of clarity and you start thinking about who you need to bring on board, only then can you get people on board that can help you execute that plan.
Yeah, and I imagine in the UK it's just as bad as the US right now. I mean, we're out of employees. Yeah. There's more jobs in the US than there are employees to fill them. So without clarity, like who am I going to hire, it becomes really difficult to make it simple and consistent to attract the right people to your business.
The other thing is, if you want to hire great talent, because you don't really want to hire the duffers because they're available. But if you want to hire great talent, the reality is they're already working. They're already playing for someone else's team. And the question is going to be this. If they're playing for someone else's team and you don't have a strategic plan, why are they coming to you? Why would they come and why would they come and work in your mess?
We talk about a unique selling proposition, but part of strategic planning should also be your unique hiring proposition. Like exactly why do all the people that I want to attract to my business want to work for me? It's because we're a purpose-based business. We take great care of our employees. Our employees are huge advocates for us in the marketplace because they know exactly where we're going. We're trying to impact 1 million people. And it's something that an employee can get super fired up about. And not very many other employees are going to say, hey, come and work for me, and you're going to have the opportunity to have this huge impact on your family and the rest of the industry and the community and all that stuff that we get to do. So getting that strategic plan and taking all the steps, right? Like not taking half the steps, but you going all the way through it also will result in your uniqueness in a hiring. And it makes everything easier when you know exactly who you're hiring and why they should come to work for you.
So, if this is a convincing enough argument to start putting a strategic plan in place, then you're never going to move from the base from where you're at. It's that simple. Planning is not an optional extra. If you're truly serious about your business, you're truly serious about your future, you need to plan it out. So if anything we've talked about today resonates with you and you really want to explore it in more detail, whether you want to start looking at what a strategic plan may look like, how do you get your thinking around a strategic plan, etc., head over to bulka.com and get in touch. And remember, failing to plan is planning to fail.